Welcome everybody back to Friar Talk. And be honest, my camera's not looking too sharp, but we're gonna get through with it anyways. We're here sitting Sunday night. Maybe it was Friday. Yeah, Friday night. Things were looking a little bit bleak for the Padres. It was looking scary. Obviously, they win the next two games. The offense isn't really there in two of the games in this series, but then you also had them have 7 and 9 runs in the first and last game of the series. So the offense was a little bit better. Obviously, the catalyst is Manny Machado, kind of have as he's been all year. I want to say he's actually hitting 300 right now, which I don't know if that's a career high for Manny, but I think it is. He has like almost an 870 OPS. Tatis has been getting on base all crazy. But either way, I think it's pretty clear that the Padres need to make some significant moves this deadline. Um, Now, I don't think that they necessarily should go after some blockbuster crazy deal. Maybe they do. I don't think they have the prospect capital for it to begin with, but we kind of want to dive into all the trade rumors and stuff, kind of talk about where the team's at. I feel like, Isaac, you think you would rather them get a starter a little bit more than I would. So I think maybe our opinions differ a little bit in that. I also don't think they need I don't think they really need an outfielder necessarily, though I do think that they're going to. But either way, I think that it's pretty clear what they need. They need 2 to 3 bats, and you can make an argument for pitching. That's what I think the general thought process is. We've got a lot of rumors that have circulated about. I think the first one. I mean, let's kind of start before we even get going. Let's think about all the rumors that we've seen. Obviously, Ramon Laureano from the Orioles, he was rumored. You also have Charlie Morton from the Orioles, also rumored. People have talked about. I mean, I like the idea of trading for Ryan O'Hearn. I don't think I've seen an actual rumor for him yet. You keep looking around, and let's see. We're gonna go. You got the Red Sox. You got like basically any outfielder on the Red Sox, kind of. That's a thought process. Duran's obviously been the main guy linked there, but a lot of people also don't really think that he's necessarily like he's that it's like they kind of think it's smoke. So we've seen some stuff on him. Um, Sandy Alcantara has been rumored. Dylan Cease has obviously been rumored to be traded away. Jake Cronenworth is in the same boat. The Cronenworth rumors they didn't really add up. And I don't really think there's any legitimacy necessarily to that. I don't know, Isaac, am I missing any trade rumors? Are those kind of the main ones that we've heard so far? Oh,
No, I don't think
Robert Jr.
I don't think you're missing anyone. I think what probably should be talked about first, and we've talked about it kind of a lot, is Dylan Cease. Um, it seemed like Dylan Cease's last start was kind of like this is it. Like as soon as he got off that mound, I'm pretty sure the trade rumors started circulating that he might be available. And so I go on ESPN. If you see me on my phone, it's because I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that is genuinely like really available because the guys that keep getting linked to the Padres, some of the bigger guys. I don't not that I think we need a star or anything, or one of the bigger names in baseball, but like Steven Kwan is linked to the Padres, and I don't think there's a huge chance he gets traded. Jaron Duran's linked to the Padres. I don't think that there's a big chance he gets traded either. So some of these guys, like, even though it seemed like it was going to be a pretty active trade deadline, now I'm kind of getting the feel that this might not be as active as some of the past trade deadlines. So, like, Dylan Cease, honestly, as much as it would probably benefit the Padres to see him go, and you could make the argument like, hey, if you want to keep Dylan Cease, fine. He gets a lot of swings and misses, but let's be honest, like, if you got rid of Dylan Cease and you brought in Charlie Morton, a lot of people would be pretty mad about it. But then you look at the numbers and you're saying, hey, well, over the past 15 starts, Charlie Morton has under a 4 ERA. Meanwhile, Dylan Cease is 3-10, and he never really gives you quality starts. I remember one quality start from him, and it was 5 1/3 innings. I think 1 run allowed against Washington, I want to say. I forgot who it was against. But it was bad. I mean, like, if you're just getting 5 1/3, you're not getting very many innings from him. But then you got other names, Duran. I know people brought up Wilyer Abreu. I saw his name get brought up by a Red Sox source. But other than that, I'm looking at all these guys that might be available, and it doesn't seem like a lot of them have a huge chance to get traded. Like Mitch Keller is going to get traded. Merrill Kelly will get traded. Edward Cabrera, I'm not sure. I definitely think Alcantara will be traded. Gallen will be traded. Yeah. O'Hearn, Bednar, Helsley, so Taylor Ward, Luis Robert Jr. So there's a decent amount of guys. But the ones I keep seeing get linked to the Padres, and I want the ones I know for sure AJ Preller's pursuing, because you guys know he likes going after the big shiny toys. So he's going after the Jarren Duran, Stephen Kwan. He's going after those guys. And Matt, like you said, I am more in favor of dealing Cease and getting another starting pitcher, because I do think if you're going to get rid of Cease, you have to cover those innings. And you can try and do it with Kolek. You can try and do it with Berger. You can try and do it with Vasquez. But I'm hesitant to do it because I don't really – as soon as I see Vasquez get in a rut, they take him out. They don't give him a chance to go another time around the order. Kolek has a 2.8 – or he has a – I don't know what his ERA is on the road, but I believe it's under a 3 or pretty close to under a 3. At home, it's like a 9.85. And Berger hasn't had too many big league appearances. So I'm like, well, you gotta replace those innings somehow. Ideally you got a guy that's going to give you 5 or 6 every outing and give you quality starts, because you're not getting that from Cease. But yeah, man, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are being linked to the Padres, but as the days go by, I mean, the Mets have been one of the best teams in baseball over the past, I believe, week. I think they won 6, 7 in a row now. And you're about to go against the Mets and you haven't really done anything. It's kind of scary. I mean, I was kind of scared when they lost 4 in a row, because now after that I was thinking like they might not buy as aggressively as I thought they would. And at that point, there were 6 games back of the Dodgers and like maybe a game up on the next team in the wild card race. And now they're 4 games back and a game up on the next team in the wild card race still. So I don't know, man. I definitely think pitching is a lot more important than we're letting on, because I don't expect that kind of start from you, Darvish, every time. I think he'll be fine. But that sucked to see. Michael King, he started throwing. Dylan Cease sucks. Pavetta's been your one consistent guy. So I think getting another consistent guy to at least give you a good amount of innings would be nice.
Yeah, and like Vasquez and Kolek have been good. Berger's been good when he's been in there. Vasquez, I mean, I also don't think they're wrong necessarily, like how they've been pitching him. But dude,
I agree.
That's the thing. It's also funny because like Kolek, like you actually like start looking at Kolek's game logs, right? You're like, they get more out of Kolek than they do out of Cease.
Exactly.
Like, innings wise, like most of the starts, go look at him. Like most of the time, like I looked at it in the last 10 outings from Dylan Cease, he's pitched 6 or more 4 of those times. Kolek goes into the 6th inning like a lot. Mm-hmm. Now he also gets roughed up sometimes, but like he's also just been like he puts him in a spot to win like a good amount, which is obviously what you're shooting for, to win. But like in all seriousness, like I feel like he's been solid. Like all their depth guys have been really good. Like they deserve a ton of praise.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you're right. Like I don't have a problem at all. My thought is more like I don't think they need a pitcher. If they don't trade Cease, that's more of what I'm thinking. If they trade Cease, they should try to grab someone. I don't think they need to go get Alcantara. Even though there was a guy that we kind of were thinking about getting at the beginning of the year, and that was a bad take. I think we'd already talked about that last time. Just because you're trying to like kind of get like steal one, but his breaking stuff, his off speed, has just not been. It's not been good. It really has.
Also, I'm sorry to interrupt you real quick. But I want to talk about Alcantara just real quick. His numbers aren't good, but the Marlins, from what I've seen, are trying to sell him as if he's still front of the line starter. Yeah, not somebody I'm interested in. Yeah, that's not someone I'm interested in.
He doesn't look good. He looked good against the Padres, but once again, that's not saying too much.
Yeah, if you need a get right game, you face the Padres.
So he had the game against the Padres, right? You want to talk about him real quick? I think he's interesting just for everyone, but like
yeah. Let's talk about
it. Starts before 6 innings, 4 earned runs, 5 innings, 6 earned runs, 6 innings, 5 earned runs, 6 innings, 7 earned runs, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. There you go. That's what kind of bounced back a little bit 5 innings, 2 earned runs, and then he had a shutout, 6 innings. But those are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 bad starts in a row right before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. I actually say like I like a move like this, and that's what Charlie Morton is.
That's
right?
exactly. Mm-hmm.
Now,
Agreed.
the difference with this deadline is that I think this deadline, that style of like depth and stuff, the Padres need that in their offense. That's the difference. Like, if you get Michael King back, because he just pitched the bullpen, or he was about to, right? I want to say there was some. I remember I saw. I didn't really.
Yeah, he just threw a simulated game.
What is it, like Saturday?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But like they have the depth in terms of starting if he's there. Now there's been injuries and stuff. Obviously Darvish has not pitched well. Cease obviously hasn't pitched well. But if they trade Cease, they should grab someone. I agree with that. But this year it's like the lineup is obviously. I think everyone knows that's what they need to add more than anything. I will say, I think the idea of trading Cease is like the best possible move. We just saw that Seth Lugo got his contract extension, so he's off the market, right? Zach Allen is kind of a similar player than Cease, but I want to say he costs a little bit more, and he hasn't necessarily looked as good. Merrill Kelly's kind of all right, but you're not getting like high. You don't have like the chance of getting high end stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Mitch Keller, and you're like, wait a second, isn't like these guys aren't that good? Well, who else is on the market for a starter? It's kind of it.
I think Mitch Keller is pretty good.
Going after Mackenzie Gore, right?
No, I don't think Mackenzie Gore is getting traded.
But he's not going to get traded. Exactly. So it's like that's why you can actually get a lot for Cease. I also saw this. Who was it that sent it? Ben Rice was a name getting mentioned. Bro, if they can get Ben Rice,
I would love to get Ben Rice
immediately, right? Like if they trade Cease plus for Ben Rice, it's worth it, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah. Also, I want to say, sorry, I'm trying to look at some guys that might be acquirable for cheap. I was looking at Luis Severino. He's kind of trash, but if you look at his home and away splits, you guys got to understand where the A's play. That's a very hitter-friendly ballpark, and on the road, Luis Severino has a 3 ERA. So I think the only problem is he got signed to an extension with the A's, and I don't know at all what that contract looks like. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, you're talking about Dylan Cease. The trade market for Dylan Cease, guys, we've already seen there's apparently 6 teams that are interested in him. 6 teams, 4 in the AL East going to be competing with each other for Dylan Cease. The other 2, I believe, are the Cubs and who am I missing, Matt?
For Cease,
you got the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Cubs. I'm missing 2 now. Are you sure?
I mean, at least as the main guys.
Yeah, that's just from the top of my head. I think there's 2 more, but I can't remember. You guys know there's those guys, and there's plenty of other pitching coaches looking at Dylan Cease, seeing his swing miss ability, seeing his stuff still looks really good. If there was no one at the plate to take his fastball 600 feet, you would be thinking this guy's pitches look really good, right? Dylan Cease, genuinely, his stuff looks good. He's getting swings and misses. The problem is, you could say it's bad luck. I wouldn't consider it. Hello, Chase. I wouldn't consider it bad luck because I've thought, hey, at first I thought it was bad luck, but now I keep seeing it. It's just repetitive. He goes up there, he goes 2 or 3 innings that are really well, and then he gets rocked. It just happens. It's over and over and over. So
it's who he is.
That's just who he is. It's what he's been doing all season. There's a pitching coach on those teams saying, dude, he still looks good. I like the toxic girl that says I can fix him, right? That's for sure what I think people are going for with Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease immediately becomes probably the top pitching. I mean, unless Joe Ryan's available, I would say Dylan Cease probably becomes a top pitching target in baseball. You could say Mitch Keller. You could say I would say Edward Cabrera if he's actually available. I would say Edward Cabrera if he's actually available. But if not, Dylan Cease, in my opinion, is probably the best guy. I mean, not from what I see, but I think just based off what other teams look into, I think he'll be a very heavily desired candidate.
Yeah, you're right. We got Chase here. Also, Isaac, I think I'm echoing a little bit, so I'm gonna mute you if I talk, and then it can unmute just so we save it. Chase, here's what we've got into. We've talked about like kind of just the general rumors of everyone. Basically, what we've gotten to right now is it worth it for the Padres to trade Dylan Cease and try to get like a Charlie Morton or a different like lower end starter? Kind of like how they got Martin Perez last year on the pitching department, and then we'll kind of get into the lineup afterwards. But I mean, I feel like all of us are going to be in agreement. I think everyone's in agreement. If you can get a good deal for Dylan Cease, then pull it. that kind of how you're feeling?
Yeah, I can't stand watching Dylan Cease anymore, dude. I'm like, wow, Dylan Cease is a good outing. And then he puts one base. I'm like, he's still, you know what? He's had a good outing. And then the next pitch is like a 2-run, 3-1 shot. And then it goes downhill from there. And then it's just, yeah. You know what you're getting out of Dylan Cease. He may make it to the 5th, 6th inning, but he's getting up 4 or 5 runs along the way. That's just kind of how he's been the entire season. Maybe you'll get a really good outing from him and get 6 innings, maybe 2 or 3 runs. But the likelihood of that happening is just not there. You might as well flip him for a bat. If not, hey, maybe he's part of a trade package where you get like a Charlie Morton and a bat from the Orioles, something like that. You can kind of mix and match, or even just get rid of him entirely and maybe we get a good bullpen arm. We get a bat. We're going to let Berger, we're going to let Kolek and them shine. They've been doing really good. Might as well let them see what we got now. And in the playoffs, you're not really going to need them. You will have Darvish. You will have the rest of the guys there. It's just getting there. And right now, what you need is a bat. You can't really do anything with, the team that we have right now. With all the guys that are struggling, we're lucky to win games. It's all or nothing. We either put up runs on a random Sunday night, or we score 0 runs on 11 hits like we did 2 days ago. It's not a really big difference between.
Yeah. Also, Chase, you got to see these. I mean, I can hear you fine.
No, I see them. I was going to look, but Iron Sun beat it to me that after I was loading up.
I like this one, dude. But I can't. You're kind of blurry, but I can hear you fine. I don't know if everyone else is feeling the same. I think it's just because you look all blurry. That's what I think it is. But it is pretty funny.
Do I look blurry?
Yeah, on mine. But you don't sound.
My end, I can see everything.
Also, I feel like it's fine. It's like I feel like the quality of the sound is really what.
As long as we can hear you, I think that's what matters.
That's all. Yeah. Okay, so we got the C stuff. Okay, I also do think something that we got to talk about the deadline. I know we kind of messaged about this, dude. This was this was right after that 0-run game, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, was when I was like, I think I tweeted.
That was crazy.
Is it time to sell? I was like, I'm not trying to like be like pessimistic. I was just like seriously, like if their offense is gonna suck, and like I get thrown in a playoff spot and stuff, but it's like if they can't buy. If they really can't, like if they're not really able to move anything, you got to probably sell more than you buy and try to kind of reallocate a little bit, which is in theory what you're doing when you trade Dylan Cease. But like, dude, this is terrifying, man. And I also think that I don't think what it means is like the new ownership won't spend. I don't think that's, well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being optimistic. Maybe that's what I hope for. But I'm more concerned about or I think it's more about this year's deadline. They don't want to jump a luxury tax. That's what I think it is. But it's still terrifying, right?
Yeah. Well, I think Manny just finally confirmed what we all kind of already knew, right? I mean, look at the acquisitions over the offseason. It was like Nick Pivetta on a 4-year, $44 million deal, $11 million a year. You're not getting front of the line pitching. You're not getting an impact bat with an 11 million AAV offer. So you could definitely tell the Padres are pretty they're starting to be penny pinchers. I know they're pretty high in payroll. I know they're top 10, but it's really unfortunate right now that I don't want to put too much. It's hard not to say AJ, Maldonado shouldn't be in the lineup. Diaz shouldn't be in the lineup. Your bench should consist of Bryce Johnson. What's his name? Trenton Brooks. It shouldn't consist of these guys, and AJ probably knew, like, it's going to be hard for me to do what I did last year. He probably spent a combined $5 million, if that, on Profar, Solano, Peralta. I don't know how much Higgy cost, but 4 guys that were very impactful players that ended up being super beneficial to Padres. And he tried doing it again because he doesn't have a lot of money to spend. He tried doing it again with Maldonado, Diaz, Iglesias, Hayward at the time, and just a whole flurry of other guys. Guys that they keep at the bottom of the lineup, and it didn't work out. Right now, the Padres 7 through 9 consistently is horrible. If you look at their average, I think it's like 158 on the season. So it's a revolving door of ass. And you're going over and over, and you have arguably the worst 7 through 9 of all of baseball because you're trying to get guys like Trenton Brooks in there, Bryce Johnson, guys that aren't going to help you. So that's why we say you don't need these big bats. You don't need a Jarren Duran, something like that. You clearly need guys, and it's not hard. There's plenty of guys on the market that are way better than the guys you're putting down there at 7, 8, 9. Now, to me, it seems like they might not replace the catching position, but going back to Manny's like, it's like, again, it's confirming what we already knew. AJ has to get creative with some of the trades that he's going to make because he might have to offload Cease, Arise. Cronenworth has been brought up. Suarez has been brought up. Michael King has been brought up. There's guys that are being brought up that AJ might have to get creative because he doesn't really have freedom to get guys that he actually wants, or freedom to get guys that might be a little more expensive.
It's like also one of those things where we could have brought Peralta back. We could have brought Michael Walker and Lugo back on cheap deals. Remember what they signed for? They had great seasons with us.
Dude,
and
they were
went on. They had amazing seasons with us, and then they made like $50 million a year for a 3 ERA, 3 and 4 starters, and then we went out and signed other people instead. We had the opportunity to re-sign some cheaper deals, and we just didn't, and then would sign more expensive deals. And the catch position I don't know why we don't throw Campy back there. I know we've talked about this on multiple episodes. Campy can't be worse than what we consistently put out in Diaz Maldonado. I understand that they say, all the pitchers, they love him. We have instant outs at the bottom of the lineup. We need to change something. Just give Campusano like 20 games of consistent at-bats, and I guarantee you it's going to increase production at the bottom of the lineup because there's no way it's as bad as Maldonado or Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. Well, also the thing is, like, the problem is that they're just not going to do it. I also think it's funny because, like, when we talk about the bottom of the lineup and stuff, dude, a lot of the reason that these guys aren't good is because they're young players that don't have consistent at bats, and then they come to the bigs, and then it's like, yeah, they're not going to be good, dude. They don't have consistent at bats. Like that, those are the guys you want to bring up, and like, yeah, they're not going to be that great because you have a couple spots like that. It's like, well, you just got to rock with them. That's why I think we wanted like Tirso Ornelas or Eggy Rosario, but Eggy Rosario kind of fell off the face of the earth. I don't know. He got his swing all jacked up and stuff, but like, you know what I mean? Guys like that we've talked about in the last, like,
they pulled the Campy.
Yeah, Campy is definitely the one, but it's like, it also is just rough because like Campy goes down every time. It's like Campy goes down to AAA, he gets sent down, and then he's player of the week in AAA, which obviously doesn't mean that much, but it is like crazy. And also, I don't even know if it's worth to talk about Camp anymore because like they have already shown they are not ever gonna do it, dude. They're really not. Like they're never gonna give him consistent at bats, which sucks. But I don't know if they're gonna, like, maybe I think there was the one guy, I forget his name, on the White Sox. He's been linked to them as a catcher. He doesn't have like great numbers or anything.
Corey Lee.
What's his name? Corey
Lee.
Yeah. I think if they go and trade for him, like the White Sox are a team that makes a lot. And let's kind of start getting into the actual trade aspect of it. I know we've been talking about everything else, but I think that's part of it is like the situation. But the White Sox are a team that makes a ton of sense, right?
Yep.
If they go and trade for a guy like Corey Lee, right, or another catcher, which doesn't really seem like there's that many legit guys on the market, which is because there's not many good catchers. It's just the reality of it. If they go and do a trade like that, and they're keeping Maldonado, bro. I think I texted you guys this earlier. They're gonna DFA Diaz. They're gonna release Diaz before they release Maldonado. I will bet a ton of money on that. And I don't know if you guys have realized, Maldonado is tearing it up right now, bro. Right as the trade rumors come, of course, and it's almost like oh shit, like you're rooting for them to do good, but it's almost like, oh no, man. Like I know this
Because
guy,
you know
he's
it is. Because you know what he is.
Yeah, exactly. You know what he is. Exactly. But it is pretty funny. So I think, but in terms of trade rumors, Duran, I think we all agree. Duran's, it's not going to happen. Maybe other guys on the Red Sox. I like the idea of them kind of going and getting a couple different bats that they can platoon, maybe like 3 different bats that they can move around and use and like have a legit left field. They have to have a legit left field or DH, however you want to put it. Either way. Stephen Kwan, dude. You guys, Chase, you said you like him, right? Like you like the idea of it?
I like the idea. It's one of those things where, yeah, you get another contact hitter. Though his numbers with people in running and scoring position, I think he has an 860 OPS. He does tend to hit right-handed pitching a lot better than he does left-handed pitching. His splits for that were not good. That is the problem. Is like, okay, if you get 2 lefties, if you get a lefty starter, then you have potentially 3 guys who don't hit lefties very well.
Mm-hmm.
I know he doesn't have like average exit velo or anything like that, but honestly, if we can have a guy that can just put it in the gaps or, actually hit the ball and put it in play with runners in scoring position and we don't leave 13 on every single game, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking about Stephen Kwan
scoring. There we go.
It's I like him too. I mean, he's an elite defender. He's a gap-to-gap hitter. I definitely think when you think of a guy that is probably going to be good at Petco Park, I think of Stephen Kwan. I don't know what his exit velocity, his average exit velocity is compared to Arise. You guys at this point probably know how I feel about Arise, but if Kwan hits the ball harder than Arise, you also got to remember Kwan is probably a much better guy in the 2-hole to have than Luis Arise. Luis Arise has no business being at the top of the lineup right now. Like, I don't think there's any sugarcoating it. I think the Padres have been hindered a lot by Luis Arise hitting behind Fernando. I think that's been a huge problem. Fernando gets on, and I hate that our 3-time batting champion 2-hole is trying to bunt. It really bothers me. I hate that the 3-time batting champion is just slapping the ball the other way. It's not an approach that I think has been successful for Luis Arise or the Padres in general. I think Luis Arise is a bottom of the lineup hitter. Stephen Kwan, on the other hand, in my opinion, is a good two hitter. I think he fits perfectly. If I had to pick, I mean, that's probably the guy that everyone thinks of when it comes to like the stars, right? Him and Duran. And then if you look at other guys like Luis Robert Jr., hits lefties really well. He's been playing good. Also an elite defender. I think he's, I've definitely come around to him more. Who else is being linked to the Padres, man? You definitely have like Charlie Morton, Ryan O'Hearn, Laureano. That's a good one, right?
Laureano's interesting. He's having a great year too. I can pull his stuff up.
Yeah, he is.
I like what you said. I like Stowers. I know he might be a little bit more expensive, but I do like.
Oh, dude, I
like
know.
Stowers.
He's not going to get traded. There's no way.
I don't think so.
I know he's not going to be traded. Oh yeah, Marcell Ozuna.
Oh,
fuck. I don't think it's real.
To be fair, yeah, I've seen a lot of people say it's not real. Even Robert Murray said it's not real, and I trust him a whole lot more than Hector Gomez. Sorry, who are we looking at right now?
This is Laureano.
Laureano. Dude, yeah, he's good. He's been really good this year.
Does he hit right-handed pitching well? Because really, you could put almost a platoon between the two.
He's hitting right-handed pretty good this year. Last year, he's usually more of a lefty guy. In his career, he's more of a lefty guy, but this year he's hitting righties really well for whatever reason. That's also why something. Okay, another thing is, forget about even like these guys, dude. The lineup is jacked up. Like you brought up Arise. What? And this guy doesn't deserve as much crap anymore, but Xander Bogaerts cannot hit 5th or 6th. You just can't do it.
He should be hitting 2nd, in my opinion.
He should be hitting. In my opinion, he should be hitting leadoff.
You could argue for sure. Yeah.
I don't care if they have to put fucking 5 righties in a row, dude. We have to move. He's hitting like 150 and 100 at bats this year with guys in scoring position. And the thing is, like, when no one's on, but you just can't do it anymore. You really can't do it. He also you texted today, right? After his home run, he has a higher OPS than
Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, and he's about to have a higher OPS than Sheets too.
Yep.
So he's
Sheets
definitely come on. Yeah.
All of our lefties have almost fallen off the table.
Oh,
yeah. I think, who is?
I said all of our lefties have fallen.
Yeah.
Jackson Merrill. Hey, nice. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, let's check out this. I know he has 2 questions, so let's kind of go through it because I think this is interesting, and I want to talk about the 2023 season with this trade deadline. So hell yeah, JDS $20, appreciate it. Why does this season give us 2023 vibes? We waited for months for the team to wake up and thought they'd get hot, but they never did. This year's offense is worse. AJ has work to do. Since April, we are below 500. 5-5 road trip again. Dude, that's the thing. It's like every single time it's like, 500. I think the 2023 vibe, like, I think that's very accurate because it's the same issue where it's like, dude, they're not driving guys in. They don't have enough power. It's like the lineup's not that deep. In the 2023 deadline, who were the trade acquisitions? Who was it? What's his name? Oh my God!
It was G-Man Choi, Rich Hill, Scott Barlow.
Barlow was a good one.
Yep.
Rich Hill and Choi were terrible.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, G-Man Choi was terrible.
There
was another one. I feel like
there was 4. I just don't remember the other one.
Another bat, right?
Yeah, another bat.
Garrett Cooper.
There we go.
Yeah, another one. He didn't really do it.
Garrett Cooper wasn't horrible, but he still wasn't bad.
Yeah. He just wasn't very impactful. Yeah.
It didn't work. Yeah, and it was also like it was almost like it was too late too at that point. I think it does give 2023 vibes a lot. The difference is that they've been kind of hanging on a wild card where that year they were just always out of it. The pitching's also a lot better this year in terms of the bullpen. The bullpen's fantastic. Starters not as much, but because that year starters were great. But it's the same thing where they can't.
Everybody was hurt.
Huh?
2023, everybody was hurt, weren't they?
Yeah. And this is the year where Hader wouldn't go he wouldn't go 4 outs, and they screwed up in the 8th inning.
That's right. I forgot about Hader.
Yeah, and dude, that's the thing is like this year it's like you don't have the offense, you don't have the runners in scoring position. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna make some trades that don't work, or are you gonna go add some guys? They don't have to be great players, but they have to provide depth, and they have to provide legit depth. If they do that, I'll feel a lot better. If they don't, I really, like, I'm not trying to be a hater, dude, but I don't have that much faith in them. Like, even if they make the playoffs, like, I think they're going to get bounced. Like, look at this offense, dude. Like, most of the time they're scoring. Like, most of the time starters are going 6 innings, cruising. I forgot when it was. It was like this past week. They were talking about how often the Padres get a quality start put up against them. And it's horrible.
It's the most in the league.
It's so bad. So you have to fix that. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think you also, like, you need Jackson Merrill to heat up. You've needed Bogarts to heat up, who's started to do that. Unfortunately, Sheets has kind of slumped a little bit. You've had, I mean, the only guys that have really been, like, consistent the whole year. Well, I guess Tatis hasn't. It's Manny and, like,
it's just Manny.
Been average. You know, like, but he's just, like, been, like, okay. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like guys have been, like, super good. Up until recently, Sheets was also in there. Tatis has been super up and down. So I think that the difference is, like, you got to make a move that actually helps. If you don't, that's how I'm going to feel. I don't think you need to do something crazy. I talked about O'Hearn. I think O'Hearn would be sick. I think Laureano is a good pickup. I think Quan would also be very good, of course. Though it would be kind of hilarious if they had Quan and Arise. If they get Quan and they have Quan and Rise and they win, if they were to win the World Series, it would be the funniest shit ever. Where, like, the whole league's like, fuck contact. And then they're like, we're going to get the 2 contact guys. All right.
What's this power? What's this power stuff? What the heck? Well, yeah, I mean, look,
I contact guys. twitch the lineup, it could work well. Because then nobody's going to want to pitch to the power guys. The way that it's set up right now, the righty left obviously isn't working. Move Tatis out from the fucking leadoff. I'm fine with putting X or Arias there. Just get Tatis out of leadoff. Like he was hitting there really well, but he's been too up and down this year. Get him back to like 3 or 4 where he was raking. And was 2023 the year that Machado said, "Just wait, don't jump on the bandwagon"?
Yeah. That was the year.
Fuck. Oh my god,
You know,
I hated the 2023 season.
I'll say I understand the similarities. I don't think it's entirely the case. I'll say there are similarities, right? The similarities back then in 23 where you waited you got Xander Bogaerts hot in the first month and the last month, and the rest you were just waiting for him to get hot, right? Manny Machado, injured, but you were waiting for him to get hot almost the whole year. Juan Soto, you waited like a month and a half, 2 months to get hot. Fernando came out with a bang, went ice cold almost the rest of the season. So you weren't getting production from the top bats. Now you could say we've been waiting a long time for Jackson Merrill to get hot. Can't say the same for Manny. Manny's been fine. Manny's been really good. I think he's second in the NL in batting average right now. He has like an 860 OPS, so he's been a stud. Quite frankly, if Manny's defense was up to par for what we know it can be, he'd probably be in the MVP conversation right now. But Fernando, his average is fine. He's been hitting for average, but you've been waiting for the power. Xander, you waited like 3-4 months for him to get hot. Gavin Sheets got cold. I mean, you're looking at guys and you're saying we've been waiting for some of these guys to do what we know they can do when they're not doing it. Difference with 2023, honestly, guys, other than the runners in scoring position statistic, which the Padres are one of the worst teams in history at, that team was probably better. If I'm going to be honest, that team had the best starting rotation in baseball that year. Blake Snell won a Cy Young. Lugo and Waka were nasty. Darvish was good. You had a really solid starting rotation and a pretty solid bullpen. That pitching staff was nasty. And yes, they didn't do very well. But I also think this team, I think, I don't know if they'll make much noise in the postseason, but I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're a good team. When you finally replace the 7 through 9, who has a 570 OPS, their bottom third of the order has a 570 OPS this season. That is the worst in the majors. Pinch hitters for the Padres are hitting 158, which is also the worst in the majors. Pinch hitters, you guys know who the pinch hitters are. They're Trenton Brooks, they're Bryce Johnson, they're just bums, right? So when you replace those guys, like this can be a really good team. Whereas in 2023, you were like, we don't have to really replace anyone. We just need these guys to finally do what we know they can do. Right? And this season, I think some replacements will help a lot.
I also do think that you have like the same thing with who are the catchers that it was Nola to start the year?
God, it was
It was also just like they would always find a way to lose every game by a run.
Yes,
It was
for
Nola,
sure.
Candy, and
There was
Gary
one more.
Sanchez took over eventually.
Gary Sanchez, that's right.
But Nola was the guy at the beginning when they were just falling behind.
Yeah.
And that's when he had his eye thing, right? And then he just never played again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I understand the similarities. I understand the comparisons. It's just I do think this team is built to make a postseason, not a postseason run, but get there at least.
Yeah.
That pitching staff was much better, but I do think this lineup has potential to be better. I mean, the only consistent guy after the first 2 months in that year was Juan Soto. Other than that, you weren't really getting much from the rest of the lineup. And like I said, that year you were like kind of in the middle of buying and selling. You didn't really know what you needed. You didn't really make splashes at the deadline. The deadline acquisitions didn't work. I think you're in a better spot this year. I mean, shoot, last year
was about that team.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm be 100% honest. And maybe people will hate this. That was probably the most talented Padre team of all time.
Couldn't agree more.
It didn't work. But on paper, like, dude, go look. That shit is crazy.
That team was fucking nasty, dude.
That might be like one of the biggest disappointments of a baseball team ever. Like it might be the very biggest, and it's not like the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Red Sox, so it's not going to get as much like like talked about like that, dude. Because they had the best rotation. You listed the 4 guys like Lugo and Walker were the guys they brought in. Those guys were fantastic. The other guys were Snell, Cy Young, Musgrove, and Darvish, just pitching like beasts. And their closer was Josh Hader.
And their setup was Robert. Wait, no, Robert Suarez came in later. He got hurt.
He came in later, but like they still. I want to say they had someone else. It's been a second.
Barlow was with us that year too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
We
Yeah,
traded
he was.
for him.
But it was just like,
ridiculous.
The whole team, but the lineup and stuff, like it just didn't work. It just, for whatever reason. I think this is true. That was and this is the difference. That team would just like turn off.
Yes, exactly. Like, this team has way more fight. This team has way more passion. That team, I mean, you had guys, Juan Soto, as good as he was, I know a lot of people don't think he was that great, but he hit 35 home runs, had a 935 OPS.
Yeah.
But it didn't really seem like he cared too much. Josh Hader definitely didn't care too much. Manny was wasn't even able to play at third base. Fernando was coming off a year where he was suspended from steroids. There's a lot of things that went wrong for that team, and this team doesn't feel a lot like last year's team, only because you're not getting those crazy exciting moments like, the clutch home runs from Jackson Merrill, the clutch home runs from Manny Machado. That's the only reason we're not getting that vibe from them right now, is because we're not getting those moments. But as soon as we start getting those, if we do, I won't say we will. As soon as we start getting those, you're going to look at a team that can go into October and get hot. But I mean, up until then, you're going to be waiting for Jackson Merrill. You're going to be waiting for these other guys to kind of get into their element and do what they know how to do and what we've seen them do.
Yeah, it's true.
Also, sorry, go ahead. No, I'm talking a lot. I know. I'm sorry. Also, something to talk about. The Padres started 14-3, so we've seen them get hot. Baseball really is a lot of have 2 really good runs, and the rest just be 500. Have 2 times where you go like, oh, they're 15-2 over their past 17 games, 14-3, whatever it is, and just go 500 the rest of it, and you'll be fine.
You need one of those to be at the end, though. That's like one of the things. It's not the best team that wins the World Series. It's the team that got hot right before October.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Think about the Giants in the 2010s. They were never the best team in the MLB. They always managed to sneak into the wild card. The 2010s Giants. They never were the best team. They really just snuck into the playoffs. And the thing with the 2010s Royals, they literally would come back from behind every single game and went to back-to-back World Series and ended up winning. They only lost to the other wild card team that gets hot at the right time, the Giants. And then they went on to beat the Mets.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give you guys 3 teams. I'm going to give you guys 3 teams I think the Padres should and that it makes the most sense to trade for, right? That's what I'm going to bring these up to you. Okay. I got first up. Oh, shoot. First up, I got the Chicago White Sox. All right. 3 guys in this team that makes sense. I'm going to pull it up. All right. Here we go. I'm going to go kind of lowest to the best, I guess. All right. These are kind of stolen from our buddy Ryan, who has been on the show many times and used to give us some sweet info. Hopefully Ryan gives us some more this year, but I don't know if he still has the connection. But back in the day, making Friar Talk big, I've been talking to Ryan, a good amount, like lately, last couple weeks. But he's given me a couple of these guys, and I'm kind of on board with them. Here's an idea. All right. This is more the backup plan, I would say. If you don't get a catcher, all right, go get Austin Slater. All right, he's not that good. All right, Chase just died.
Chase I was cleaning my camera to see if that made a difference on the blurriness, but I don't know if it did.
Sounded insane. All right. So, okay, anyways, we're going back. Austin Slater. Austin Slater, I mean, you know who this guy is, right? Like, I feel like he's been around for a minute. Oh, my God, I'm getting a bunch of stuff. Sorry, my phone is blowing up. I'm trying to make it stop beeping. All right, here we go. Here's why you want him. This splits. All right, not that many, but he's doing great against lefties. This is kind of his. I guess he wasn't good this year, but typically in the years where he's like a solid player, he's a good lefty hitter. Like that is his specialty. So you get a guy to hit lefties, right? Tauchman. Opposite. You go and you just trade for these two guys. He has 39 at bats. It doesn't really, not that much of a value. But look, 800 OPS, 725. That's not that bad. 740, not that bad. And actually, his splits aren't that crazy on both sides. But guy who's been solid. Baseball Savant numbers are pretty solid. The other guy, of course, from the White Sox. I'm just trying to think of teams that are actually going to trade guys. Luis Robert Jr., of course, he's been killing it lately. He started out really, really slow. He's expensive, but they're going to probably eat his contracts for the most part. Once again, dude, he's good against lefties. He's not good against righties. That's the problem, is that he kind of is more of an everyday player, but that doesn't really work. But he's also hasn't been that good. He's a great defender and stuff. Whatever. Those are the three guys from the White Sox. Doesn't get me that excited, but like I like the idea of bringing in like Tauchman and Slater. It's okay. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's like my first team, right? That I think like, because I think that there are like legitimate reasons to believe that the Padres could trade with the White Sox. Also, we've already seen these guys, like the White Sox don't do well in trades. Like they usually like, they're not going to give these, it's going to be cheap to get them.
One really good example of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. I think it makes sense. I mean, part of me does want Adrian Hauser. I know I'm a little bit of I have a different stance than you guys in terms of what the Padres might need. I would like a starting pitcher. I think Adrian Hauser and Luis Robert Jr., Adrian Hauser and the other two would be nice. I think that's a good trade package, and I think that's one that is cheap that helps the Padres. You get some innings from Hauser, and you get two good bats that you can put. I'm not going to say good bats. I'm just going to say immediate, major, crazy upgrades, which is so horrible to say. That's really a bad thing for Bryce Johnson and the rest of these guys that keep coming in pinch hitting situations. But yeah, they're better bats. They're good bats. But yeah, part of me does want Hauser if we're going to be partners with the White Sox. But no, I mean, I would be perfectly fine with your trade for sure.
I mean, it makes sense. The problem with trading for a team for three guys is, what is there going to be their asking price? Like, do we give them back Cease? I think they want Cease. They got rid of him to us. I'll give him back. I do like the idea of adding two guys that platoon well together. Like if you got Laureano, you get a lefty that hits righty pitching really well. It's one of those things where we're going to have to find value in the cheapest way possible, and platoons with guys who are especially for one side of the plate or one pitcher might be the way to do it. It might be the quickest and easiest way to create a more complete lineup, but you're going to have to do it right and hope the guys stay hitting the same way when they get to the Padres. Was for whatever it has been pretty historically that every time we trade for a bat outside of a couple of guys, they get significantly worse when they come to the Padres. Oh, yeah. Or that could be the hitting coach, which we have seen has been atrocious for this organization for I don't know how many years or decades it has been at this point. It could be decades now. But like every time, like we've always had this discussion. It always happens around mid part of the season. I don't know what it is. Like the last 2 or 3 years, we've always been like, why are they being so passive all of a sudden? Progress the plate, it works. But I feel like it's been a trend about the midseason. They get super passive, and then next thing you know, they start cooking back up in the middle of the season because they get a little bit more aggressive with the plate, and they realize their approach sucks, and they changed it. But I'm all trading for platoon guys or Stephen Kwan. Like, if you're going to do one or the other, like, the only other team I can think that would be selling, the A's probably one of their young pieces. They have a few good guys, but I don't think they're getting rid of any of their young pieces because they like cheap contracts. The Angels could potentially be there. The Rangers, I don't think are going to sell. I think they're just trying to figure themselves out. The Twins could probably sell a couple guys.
Yep.
The Guardians might sell a couple guys. And hell, maybe we can check in with the Orioles. That team has been atrocious. They're obviously not going to buy. They're probably just going to hold and maybe sell a couple people, like a contract year or an arbitration. So let's check in on what they have.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna run through the other guys I was thinking. So let me pull this up. Kind of pop. I like to pop up the Savants. I think it does well. And I think you guys are right. Like it's kind of like it depends. I think White Sox 100% selling. Orioles right here 100% selling. Ryan O'Hearn, this dude's a beast. Look at this dude. This is an AJ Preller special right here. If you ever seen one, right?
Yeah.
Loves batting average. That's just the reality, whether it works or whether it doesn't. He's good first base and whatever. I think this would be a sweet pickup. I think Ryan O'Hearn would be amazing. I don't know how much he's going to cost. I've seen like nothing about him being nothing about him being traded, but he's kind of has to get traded, right? Like they're terrible. He's 32. He's having a career here. It makes no sense to not move him. Same team. You got Laureano. Laureano, we already talked about him a good amount. He's been great. You brought up the Twins. Yeah, I'll kind of just rapid fire.
Morton.
Yeah, Morton too. Yeah, Morton's been good lately, but he's not having a great year. But he's been good lately, so it's fine. He would be if you trade Cease. Also,
dude, I really like Ryan Jeffers.
Yeah,
I really like Ryan Jeffers.
I don't think they're going to trade him though.
I don't either.
It's the same deal as like Sean. He's great though.
He is good. He's 28. He might be getting up a contract, so depending on whether or not they want to extend him or see him in the future, then he could be available for trade.
I think there's one more year after this. It might be two, but it's at least one. So it's going to be a second. He's a very interesting piece. Quan, we already brought him up a good amount. He's a very interesting piece. Another guy, we didn't really talk too much about him, but Angels-wise, Taylor Ward. And I think that's kind of the market right there. We're not talking about,
I agree.
Ozuna, but Ozuna, I don't really think we already said, we talked about it a little bit. There's
Fuck that.
smoke, and it just doesn't why. It's just, he's also been terrible. Yeah, like Taylor Ward's just a solid player. This would be sweet.
Yeah, I think Taylor Ward would be super sweet. Part of me in my head, I think there's one person that probably should get talked about, Willie Castro. Willie Castro from the Twins is pretty good. And part of me just knows, there's this part of me that feels, I know how much AJ Preller loves going after the shiny toys. I know it. Part of me feels like Willie Castro and Joan Duran is something AJ Preller would try pulling off for whatever reason, but it feels like an AJ Preller type move. Going back to the Orioles, Ryan O'Hearn and he's nasty. Ryan O'Hearn and Charlie Morton would be phenomenal, right? It's like you're gonna have to do these packages. I think it's gonna be pretty hard for the Padres to be able to pull off multiple deals. I think the best thing for them to do is get guys in 2s or 3s. They might even have to try and swing a 3-team deal, but like Willie Castro and Joan Duran, definitely that seems like an AJ Preller move, if I'm being completely honest.
Yep.
Is there a starter on the Twins that's available for trade? Because then,
there is one.
Chris Paddock, baby.
No. Here we go.
It's Joe Ryan. Yeah.
Send it,
dude. Oh, dude, I doubt it. I so highly doubt it, but oh my god.
So, okay, here is the one problem with that trade, is going to be a hefty fucking trade package. You're gonna have to get rid of,
for sure.
You're at least getting rid of Cease. That's depending on how they value him. Even if they want him, you're at least getting rid of Solace.
I think Cease will get.
You might have to get rid of DeVry.
No, I think you got to look at it. I think you got to look at it as the same as what we gave the Marlins for Tanner Scott.
For who? No. For which one?
For Duran.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think not as a whole package for those 3. It won't happen unless you pull a 3-team.
You're talking about Joe Ryan too. Oh, You are an animal. You are an animal. Give me a
3-team
second.
trade. You could lessen the blow.
But no, they're not gonna be able to trade for Joe Ryan. There's just no way.
No,
I
they're
do
not
think-
gonna do it.
I do
But
think
there's a chance. There's a chance. It's not very likely. It's like a 10% chance, but there is a chance.
they're also gonna spend like the most money ever to not like spend the most money, but spend the most trade capital ever if they want to get him because the market's so screwed up. He also has a couple more years of control. Willie Castro and Jeffers. That was my favorite trade that I thought.
I like that one too.
That was my favorite one that I thought.
Yep.
I
like that
don't
one, too.
already
think they're gonna trade Jeffers though. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I wish they would. Like I really want them to. Yeah,
Let me see.
and then I also see this right here from John.
I'm
Do
cool
you
with them
want
trading
AJ to
Salas,
trade
not
Salas or
DeVries.
Rise or both to help the team this year? Yes
I'm okay with Salas.
to Salas, no to DeVries.
Yep.
I don't want them to trade it. I don't think there's anyone worth
Which
it. That's-
means they're trading DeVries, keeping Salas. Because every time I want them to keep a prospect, they trade him, and then they end up being a stud for another team.
Dude.
yeah, we could
I
have
would
Josh
be-
Naylor. Naylor would have been nice to pick up.
I would be hurt if they traded DeVries. I'm cool with them trading Salas. I mean, he's young, and I know he'll probably end up being good, and I know you're probably giving him up at his lowest, but like at the same time, if you're going to swing one of these trades, you might have to do so with Salas, and otherwise you're going to have to do it with like Cease is fine. I don't give a damn where he goes. You might have to look at, like trading Cronenworth. I think a lot of people are frustrated with the Cronenworth contract, but you're getting probably a 2-3 WAR player for $11 million. I think that's a hell of a bargain. So I mean, there's things that the Padres could do, man. It's just they're gonna have to do some things. Like we've said, AJ Peller's gonna have to get creative. Well, I'm gonna leave right now. I'm not sure how much longer you guys are gonna stay on, but it was nice talking to everybody about the deadline. It is my favorite time of the year, other than October, if they make it. Each day that goes by, I get more and more pissed that I haven't seen a Passan bomb involving the Padres. But
There's gonna be one.
there's got to be something. But the trade that
go.
comes off the top of my head is definitely Castro and Duran, because I think that's something AJ Preller would try and pull off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be tweeting.
I have one to just spitball you.
Who?
I have one to just spitball for you. Austin,
Okay.
if we're going to go to these, Austin wins, and let's just go like Brent Rooker or Soderstrom or like Miguel Duhar. Look up Austin win on Baseball Savant. I don't know what it looks like, but he's having a good season. He's 34. He catches. He could be like a guy that no one talks about that we might as well just look into, because if they're going to trade, they're not going to keep a 34-year-old catcher. And when I was looking at, he was hitting like 270 with like an 800 OPS.
That makes sense.
Oh,
All right,
I
I'm gonna dip out, guys. It was
When?
nice talking to everybody. I'll watch you guys and I'll try and comment what I can, but
Yeah.
I'll talk to you guys later.
yeah. All right, see you, Isaac.
Later, guys.
Yeah, I'm down to go a couple more minutes, Chase, to kind of see to pop.
As
through a
only
couple.
100 bats, that is the downside.
Yeah, but he had a good year last. I mean, I guess he had 20 at bats. Never mind. Yeah, he's barely played. I don't know. I mean, like numbers wise, you're right.
It is one of those things. He is unproven, but he's having a good year.
Well, it's the same thing of
Better
like,
than
yeah,
what we have. He's 34
Exactly.
years old. Might as well take a swing.
gonna
And
cost
hell,
nothing.
we traded Brent Rooker too, and he's just a throwing piece. But Brent Rooker's the main guy, and we just like, hey, we need catching help. Let's get Austin Wentz. We throw in a player we name later, and it might. And then you get your
Yeah.
left fielder that you need. You get your left
Rooker's-
fielder that you need.
I don't think they're gonna
Disgusting.
trade Rooker though. But like the idea is there. The idea is there.
He's 30. He probably will try to extend a contract. The A's won't do it. The value that you get out of him now, I see it's a good deal for the A's.
No, he's in a contract right now.
Is he?
He's in his.
How many
He
years
just
is
got
that?
extended. That's the reason.
I thought he had one more year before he got extended.
No, he got extended. He signed I don't know when it was. He signed
5 years, $60 million to 30-30. Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
trading him. That's such good value for that contract.
Well, that's the thing, dude. With him, it's like, yeah, because like, no, he is a very good like guy to go after. You know, in theory, like the player himself. I mean, that's interesting for catcher. I think. I didn't bring him up. Corey Lee from the White Sox. He's the other guy that from the White Sox. I feel like they're 100% going to make a trade with the White Sox for whatever it is. I mean, this guy hasn't been, but like really, like this isn't good.
He squares it up. He doesn't strike out a lot, but he doesn't put the ball in play very. Like if he puts the ball in play, it's not good.
Yeah, like look, this is bad. You know, it's like this isn't even an improvement. That's my problem. Is like, okay, he had a lot of time. He had a lot of plate appearances last year, and it's like this is not good. He's also on the White Sox, so they see something. It's like it's still not the worst thing to like throw him in, but it's like not necessarily even an upgrade. He's a pretty like obscure player to get mentioned in a trade, you know, in trade talks. Going back to the very first super chat we got. Also, thank you guys all for the super chats. You guys sent us a bunch of money tonight. That was sick. What will our record be at the end of the season? What percent would you give us to make the playoffs? So, I think we wrap up on this, Chase. What do you think? Because
I think let me see what the record is. Let me see what the teams around. I forget what the standings look like right now.
Is Fangraphs has the playoff predictions, right?
We are.
We're game up right now. Let's see what Fangraphs has.
Top 3 teams make wild card, right?
Yeah. Okay, here we go. You ready? Fangraphs has the Padres making the playoffs at a 50.4% chance. They have them winning the division at a 4.4% chance, clinching a bye at a 1.7% chance, and winning the World Series at a 1.8% chance. It's actually terrible compared to these other teams. It's because they're not the sure thing to be in the playoffs. The next closest teams to make the playoffs behind us are the Giants, and then the Reds, and then the Cardinals. Those are the next ones. And pretty much everyone else is not expected to really compete at all for a wild card spot. It's interesting because really we're going to find this out in the next 2 weeks. Or not 2 weeks, sorry, 3 weeks. Because there's this, maybe it's like 3.5, whatever it is. There's a stretch that's coming up where it's 13 games where it's against the Giants and the Dodgers alternating. You're going to find everything out then. Also, you're going to find it out at the trade deadline, I think, too. If they go and get the right guys, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think it's like a pretty high percentage. If they don't, I think it's like 50-50 like it is now. The Giants already kind of made their trade. The Reds, they might buy and do some stuff, but I don't know if they're really going to, and I also don't know if the Reds are that great. I was also looking at their schedule, and they play some good teams throughout the rest of the season. The Padres have like a couple weeks where they do, but they have a lot of really like just easy opponents, and they've taken care of business when they've played those teams. So I think I would give it like a 65% chance.
I'm gonna give it a 50-50.
50-50? Record-wise? I mean, what are they on?
Depends on what we do.
Yeah, it depends on what you do. That's the thing. That's really the thing. That's what's hard to tell. I would feel more comfortable answering this after the trade deadline because my number will drop if they don't actually add depth to their lineup. But they definitely will. But I think they're going to. I think that
an injury and this team falls apart.
That's the other thing. Yeah. Okay, projected win-loss also for where they're at right now, right? 85 and 76. That's not that good to make the playoffs.
What was it last year? You needed to make playoffs. I know there was a little higher. There was a lot more competition.
Yeah, I think it was. I want to say like 88. I think it's usually 88 in a given year too.
If you usually get around 85 wins, you're in the playoffs. Usually, but the NL is kind of stacked with good teams, and young teams that are there to win it. I would say they win between like 83 and 84 games.
It was 89 last year. Is that right? Sounds right. It's like 80. Yeah, I think it was. I want to see. I don't remember. No, they won 93. They won 93 and 69. I don't think they're gonna get there. The Diamondbacks won 80. That's a team. That's how much it took to. Yeah, 93, and the Diamondbacks won 89. Damn.
Yeah, because the Braves had 89, and the Diamondbacks had 89 as the other two teams.
And the Mets. No, the Mets made it.
The
Mets were wild
even
card
then,
game.
the Mets had 89 too. The Mets had 89 too. You needed 89 wins to get into the playoffs.
And I don't think it's going to take that much this year. Maybe it does, but I don't think so at this point.
Let's see. The Cincinnati's a game back. Braves are 3. I would say it's interesting because the Cardinals hung around. The Giants are one of those teams that can always sneak in, and then the Diamondbacks can always rip off a hot streak.
Yeah, but the Diamondbacks are going to trade. Diamondbacks sell. They're going to sell too much to do it. I think they've already kind of let that be known. If they don't, dude, that's the thing, dude. That's why I think it's kind of weird that they're selling so hard, because I still felt like they could make a run. I thought that was actually really strange, but all the reports are like, dude, they're selling all the way. I guess we have to see it, right? We got to see if that actually happens. But if they do, as they're expected to, I don't think they are. If not, dude, I don't know. They could definitely hang in there. I don't think the Giants are that good. Obviously, the Padres have to take care of business when they play them.
Devers is not a hot streak, though. They just need two. Like, if they get another bat that was out for them, they could be dangerous. Devers, since like the second half started, it has that damn near 1,000 OPS.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He had like over 300 average and is hitting like 940 with a 940 OPS or something like that.
I saw he had a couple of clutch hits. I didn't realize he was playing that well. Yeah, I don't know where they would. I don't know. I mean, I don't know their roster well. Like, I watch them a little bit, but I don't really follow the Giants honestly that much. Like, I follow a lot of other teams more than the Giants. I don't know, dude. I think I would guess
always there, and that's what pisses me off. It's like the Brewers. No matter how much they sell or do something, they're just there. They're a nuisance.
But it's like, dude, it's almost kind of a problem now. I know the Giants won like that before, but like the more modern Giants, like they're not. It's not like they were good teams that would like, make it in the playoffs and be wild cards and stuff. Now they're just like, it always feels like they're very mediocre. With the same thing with the Brewers, which is really, I know the Brewers are playing great this year. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're going to make any noise in the playoffs. And it's like, dude, the sample size of that is way too large to think that's like a crazy take.
Even if they do make it to the playoffs, the Brewers don't do anything in the playoffs.
Never, dude. Never. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. What's your final thoughts on, what is the team going to do at the deadline? I think they're going to trade for 2 to 3 bats. This is what I think. I think they're going to trade Cease away. Here's my take. They're going to trade Cease away. They're going to get way more than they should for him. They're going to trade for Adrian Hauser, a Charlie Morton, some starter like that, right? And they're going to trade for 2 to 3 bats. And I think I'll give it let's say a 30% chance that one of those bats they trade for is a Steven Kwan, one of the Red Sox outfielders equivalent of like a really solid player. And I think if they don't, I think they're going to go add average pieces. And I don't think they're going to trade for a catcher, or at least a clear upgrade at catcher. I wish they would. That's my predictions for them, though. That's what I actually think is going to happen.
That sounds about right. I give them about a 50% chance to make playoffs if they don't make any moves. I don't know if they trade for a starter. I think they go get a fielder reliever instead, because they don't want to trade for a starter. Just because maybe Michael King's coming back. They're hoping Darvish gets well. And maybe they hope he turns it around. I know Cease is like one of the prime arms on the market. It just doesn't make sense to me to probably prioritize to go trade Cease and then potentially, according to the market, downgrade with Charlie Morton or Adrian Hauser. But at the same time, in my head, it makes sense. Go trade those guys. Obviously, Ruben Niebla hasn't been able to fix Cease. Maybe he can change Morton or Hauser and see how it goes. I don't know. I really don't think we need a bullpen. We need to send Wandy Peralta to the moon.
Dude, no,
Please.
he's been better, bro. He's been better. You know,
I still
need to
trust
send to the mood. That's fair. That's fair. But you know who we actually need to send to the mood now is Yuki Matsui. He's been absolutely god awful lately, unfortunately. Even though he started off the year looking so good, he looked so good to start the year, man.
I don't trust either of those when they come in.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Wandy's been good, but you're right. Like, I still don't trust him. You're not wrong there.
Every time Wandy comes in, I'm like, we just blew the game.
Yeah, I've been feeling like that too. And I was looking at his numbers when he came in. He came in the other day, and I was like, damn, dude. Now I'm thinking about it, like, yeah, he has been pretty lights out lately. But
still don't.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, look. Overall, I really do hope they add a catcher. I hope I mean, if they added just a catcher, like an everyday, like good, solid catcher, and they added like two other bats that are like platoon guys that can maybe one of them plays first base, one of them plays in the outfield, and they move them around, right? So they have like a kind of rotation between the three of like this guy's the best here, and kind of play it matchup dependent, and one of those guys is always on the bench. That's what I want to see happen. I don't think they're going to get that much, though. I really don't. I don't think there's enough guys available, because the reality is like in the AL, there's so many teams that are in the mix. Like people were talking about Higgy earlier, dude. The Rangers are like a couple games out of first place, and they're right outside of the wild card. They're not out of it. They're absolutely not out of it, and they've been playing really good lately. So they're like 56-50, which I think is pretty close to our record, I want to say. But yeah. I think that kind of does it for me. Chase, you got anything else? This is a long stream, bro.
No, we'll come back. Let's see what the trade deadline ensues.
Yeah.
There could be so many different pieces that just randomly pop up and be like, wow, I didn't know that guy was on the trade market, or wow, someone really overpaid for this guy because there's no one on the trade market. Let's see what price line starts off at. That's good. That's the biggest thing. Let's see what teams really are really willing to give up for a person.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think it's gonna do it. Thank you all for hopping on. It's been a fun chat. Whenever stuff pops up like this week, or if like whatever it's like, stuff. If I'm around, I'll make a video. We'll see if we can do it. Hopefully, we'll do a live on Thursday. You around Thursday, Chase?
I work every single day except Tuesday.
Oh God. Okay. Well, maybe we will. Maybe we won't. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If not,
I'll try to switch my shift to a morning so I can be here at night. We'll see.
If you can change to have Thursday off, that's the best, because that's the actual day of everything. So
yeah, try to. Or I'll just call out one of the two. We'll see.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for hopping on. Talk to y'all later. Have a good night. Let's go Padres. I'm happy they closed out this series. Hopefully they buy enough. I don't want them to go crazy, but if they add a few pieces, I think it'll go a long way. So thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good night. Peace.